My mother said sunlight would kill us. She sealed the windows, made us fear the warmth. I believed her. Until the day a woman in a rescue vest stormed in, yanked me into a hug and said, "You're free." But her smile felt rehearsed. That night, I stood by the window, moonlight hit my skin, I didn't die. Illy was always hungrier than me, so I'd save half my bread and slip it into his pillowcase after lights out. One night, Mom caught me. She yanked the plate from my hands, snarling something about discipline. Her eyes glassy, her voice low and shaking. I wiped Illy's tears and whispered it was okay, even when my stomach ached. That's when I learned, love in our house came with rules. And kindness, real kindness, had to be hidden. She said sunlight killed kids like us. That's why we stayed inside, why school was dangerous. I believed her, until I saw a boy laughing in the alley, sun on his skin. Illy reached toward the light. I yanked him back. He's going to die. I whispered, but doubt had taken root. That night, I asked Mom. Her smile was tight. He's not like you, she said, and closed the curtain. When I turned 11, Mom started having me sign papers. Just for our records, she said, voice syrupy but strained. One had a golden sun stamped on the corner. I hesitated. Her smile twitched. It's just a logo, she snapped, then softened. Nothing serious. Her hands shook as I signed. That night, I told Illy it was nothing but the paper haunted me. I didn't know what I'd authorized, only that the sun felt less like warmth and more like a warning. A woman from the health department came once. Mom made us hide in the closet. We held our breath as the woman knocked, then left a folder outside the door. Later I peeked. Inside was a pamphlet about sunlight deficiency in children. I tried asking Mom, but she snapped, "They're trying to poison us." Her hands trembled as she burned the papers in the sink. Illy cried that night, asking if we were really sick. I didn't answer. One night, I found a planner shoved behind the kitchen drawers. Pages filled with dates, checkmarks, and names I didn't recognize. One entry read, "Inspection delayed, GM relocated." I froze. JM, a name Mom once muttered in her sleep. I showed Illy, but he didn't understand. When I asked Mom, she slapped the book from my hands and said, "That's not yours." Her eyes burned. I returned it, but not before copying the page. Something was very, very wrong. I left the planner on the table. When Jenna saw it, her smile vanished. "You went through my things," she asked, each word coiled tight. I didn't back down. "Who's JM?" I asked. She stepped closer, voice cold. That file was destroyed. Illy stood behind me, holding my shirt. "Keep pushing," she whispered, "and placements can change." Her threat wasn't vague, it was aimed at splitting us up. That's when I realized she hadn't rescued us. She had owned us. That night, I waited until Jenna fell asleep, then crept into her office. Files lined the cabinets, some with kids' names, others marked relocated. I found one with my name. Inside, forged signatures, false diagnoses, payment logs. My hand trembled as I turned the pages. Each one was a lie dressed in legal ink. Behind me, Illy whispered, "Are we in trouble?" I turned to him slowly. "No," I said, swallowing my fear. "But she will be, once this gets out." I scanned every page, taking photos with Illy's old tablet. Some files listed dead kids' dates, payouts, medical codes. One matched the initials JM. My stomach turned. Jenna hadn't just lied, she'd profited from it. I heard footsteps and shoved the tablet under the floorboard. Jenna opened the door slowly, smiling that practiced smile. "Couldn't sleep?" she asked. I nodded. "Nightmares." She laughed softly, stepping closer. My skin crawled. That wasn't care in her eyes. It was calculation, and I saw it now. The next morning, I told Illy to pack only what mattered, his bear, the tablet. We slipped out during Jenna's grocery run, hearts pounding. I handed the tablet to Mrs. Klein, the only adult I still halfway trusted. She scrolled through the images, face pale. "You need to take this to someone," she said. "Someone who will listen." For the first time, I saw an adult believe me without hesitation. And for the first time, I wasn't just surviving. I was fighting back. Mrs. Klein brought us to a CPS supervisor named Meredith. She nodded solemnly as I spoke, then left the room with the tablet. 15 minutes later, she returned, expression unreadable. "We've escalated this," she said, "but you'll need to return to Jenna's care temporarily." I stared at her, stunned. "She forged medical files," I said. Meredith's voice was calm. "Until placement is reviewed, she's still your guardian." Illy's hand tightened in mine. I knew then, the system didn't want the truth. Back at Jenna's, the locks had changed. Her smile was back, wide, slow, and soaked in that syrupy control. "Welcome home," she purred like nothing happened. She took the bear from Illy, saying it needed washing. He looked at me, eyes wide with panic. That night, I searched the tablet. It had been wiped clean, every photo, every file. Gone. Jenna stood in the doorway, arms crossed. "You kids are so forgetful," she said, with that chilling smirk. My blood ran cold. The next morning, Jenna handed me a new form to sign. "It's for school exemption," she said, tone flat. But the header read transfer of medical guardianship. I didn't move. "Sign it," she whispered, tapping the line. I met her gaze. "What happens if I don't?" Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Then maybe Illy gets sent somewhere else." My hand shook, but I didn't pick up the pen. I wasn't just scared anymore. I was calculating. So was she. That night, I faked sleep while Jenna whispered on the phone. "They have no proof now," she said. "Just stall the review, I'll finish the paperwork." My breath caught. She was working with someone, maybe more than one. After she left, I opened the trash bin. Inside, shredded paper scraps, some still legible. One said, "JM deceased." I froze. Illy stirred beside me. I whispered, "Don't move." My hands trembled, piecing lies back together. I wasn't losing him, not like JM. I spent the next day reconstructing the scraps, taping pieces together on Illy's floor while he played quietly. One form was a pay-out log, recurring monthly deposits tied to special needs subsidies. Another listed JM name and date of removal. I took photos with Jenna's old flip phone while she showered. My fingers shook, but my mind was sharp. If the system wouldn't protect us, I'd build the case myself. This time, I wasn't just collecting truth. I was arming it. I slipped the phone into a sock and hid it inside Ellie's stuffed bear. If anything happens, I told him, you keep this close. He nodded, eyes wide, serious in a way no kid should be. Jenna called from the kitchen, her voice too sweet. Lunch, darlings. We walked out slowly, pretending nothing had changed, but everything had. The bear wasn't just comfort now. It was evidence, it was insurance. And for the first time, Illy was part of the plan. That weekend, Jenna took us to a new placement interview. The house looked polished, too polished. A couple smiled at us, but their questions felt rehearsed. The woman asked, can he feed himself, while eyeing Illy like merchandise. I gripped his hand tighter. Jenna's laugh rang out behind me, that practiced cloying sound. My stomach churned. This wasn't adoption, it was transfer. I excused myself to the bathroom and texted the photos to every hotline I could find. No more waiting. Hours later, while Jenna chatted in the kitchen, her phone buzzed. She froze, read the screen, and slammed it down. Who did this? She snapped, eyes darting. I kept stirring soup, heart racing. Someone reported false medical claims. Her voice cracked. She turned to Illy. Was it you? He flinched. I stepped between them. He's a kid. I said, blame me. Her smile returned, slow and venomous. I always do. That moment sealed it. She wasn't afraid of exposure. She was prepared. That night, I heard Jenna pacing, speaking in low, clipped tones on the phone. Too much attention. They'll dig. She hissed. Move the timeline up. My chest tightened. I slipped into the hall and placed Illy's bear inside my backpack. Then I wrote one sentence on a sticky note. Asterisk asterisk. We are not safe. Asterisk asterisk. I tucked it into his sock. If she split us up again, he needed to know. I didn't trust the system. I trusted the message. The next morning, a new caseworker showed up. Nervous, avoiding eye contact. Temporary relocation, she mumbled, eyes on her clipboard. Jenna stood behind her, arms folded, smug smirk creeping back. Bags now, she said. Illy clutched my hand. Are we together? I asked. The caseworker hesitated. Separate placements for evaluation. My legs nearly gave out. Illy's lip trembled. I bent down, pressed the bear into his arms. Remember the sock? I whispered. He nodded. We didn't cry, not yet. The foster home was cleaner, quieter but wrong. I scanned every adult's face for signs, sympathy, calculation, deceit. No one mentioned Illy. I asked 3 times, confidential, they said. That night, I pretended to sleep and used the landline to call the hotline again. This is about a child being trafficked, I whispered. I gave names, dates, account numbers from memory. Please don't hang up. My voice shook, but I didn't stop. I wasn't just begging anymore, I was detonating something. 3 days passed, no word, no Illy. I counted every meal, every hour. Then, during a mandatory check-in, a new worker entered, clipboard in hand, but eyes alert. You're the one who called, she said quietly. I nodded, barely breathing. She handed me a sealed envelope. Inside, a photo of Illy, holding the bear, alive, he remembered. She whispered, the sock. I gripped the photo like a lifeline. The system had cracks, but my message had slipped through one. They transferred me without warning. No bags, no good, bye. Just a van and 2 guards. The place was sterile, locked, labeled evaluation center. But the questions weren't about me. What did you access? Where did you get the documents? I realized then, I wasn't being protected. I was being silenced. That night, I scratched a message onto the underside of my bed frame. Asterisk asterisk, she sells kids. Asterisk asterisk, if I disappeared, someone had to know. Truth, if buried, needed to rot loud enough to be found. A nurse found the carving 3 days later. She didn't say a word, just changed my sheets slower than usual. That night, she slipped me a granola bar and whispered, I read it. My heart slammed in my chest. He's safe, she added, and you started something. Before she left, she handed me a new pen. If they gag you, write louder. I hid the bar under my mattress. Hope didn't look like freedom yet, but it finally had allies. 2 weeks later, I was pulled into a room with a lawyer and a recorder. You're being heard, she said. My throat tightened. I listed names, amounts, placements. I told them about JM, the shredded files, the bear. She nodded, not interrupting once. This isn't the first report, she said quietly, but yours is the most complete. When I walked out, Illy was waiting in the hallway, eyes tired, bear in hand. For once, no one stood between us. They placed us in a safe home under new names. I watched from the window as investigators boxed up Jenna's files. One agent carried out the planner. My planner now. I didn't feel relief, not yet. Just a strange, hollow stillness. That night, Illy asked, are we really done? I held his hand. We're out. I said, but done, that's not up to us. Outside, the porch light flickered. For once, I didn't flinch. Light didn't mean danger anymore. It meant beginning. A week later, a journalist contacted us. Someone leaked your report, she said, eyes sharp but kind. We've confirmed 3 other kids with similar files, 1 missing. I hesitated, then handed her the copy I'd made of GM record. Tell it right, I said, not just the horror, the patterns, she nodded, the whole truth. Illy squeezed my arm. We weren't secrets anymore. Our pain had a name, a timeline, a trail, and now, it had a witness bigger than us. The article dropped on a Monday, front page, photos blurred, names redacted, but the story was unmistakable. Systemic exploitation, foster fraud hidden in plain sight. Jenna's face wasn't shown, but I knew she saw it. That night, an anonymous voicemail landed on our new phone. You think you've won. The voice spat. This isn't over. Illy clutched the receiver like it burned. I deleted the message, heart racing. He's wrong, I told him. It is over, because now, we're not alone. A week after the article, we testified behind closed doors. Lawyers, social workers, even 2 senators. I told them everything again, but this time, they listened like it mattered. When I finished, one woman leaned forward. Would you speak at a summit? She asked. My throat went dry. You want me to teach you how to fix it. She nodded. Illy whispered, you don't have to. I looked at him, then back at her. No, I said, but I want to. At the summit, I stood beneath bright stage lights, no blackout curtains, no fear. I spoke about forged files, signatures weaponized, kids like JM erased on paper before vanishing in life. People cried, some couldn't meet my eyes, but I didn't cry, not once, because Illy sat front row, the bear in his lap, unhidden. My voice didn't shake, my story didn't stutter. For the first time, the system didn't talk over me. It listened, and this time, it moved. Sometimes I still wake up expecting blackout curtains and silence. My body forgets we're safe now. The Taylors keep the windows open, always. Sunlight floods the kitchen every morning. At first, I hated it. Too bright, too loud. But now, I sit there with Illy drinking cocoa, letting the light hit my skin. He smiles more easily. I laugh without checking who's listening. Safety isn't just escape, it's repetition. It's relearning how to exist without flinching, and we're getting there. Illy still asks questions about JM, about Mom, about why no one stopped it sooner. I never lie. I tell him some adults are broken, and some systems pretend not to see. He listens, then asks if we're ever going back. No, I say gently, we only go forward. He nods and goes back to drawing always suns, always open windows. His pictures are healing faster than my body is. But that's okay, he's allowed to bloom first, I'll follow. Sometimes I reread the court transcripts, not to relive it, but to remember what we survived, the way Jenna's voice cracked when confronted. The silence when my photos were shown, the judge's final words, state responsibility acknowledged. It doesn't erase anything, but it anchors me. I was gaslit, starved, manipulated, but I wasn't wrong. And that matters. Truth, when spoken plainly, doesn't just expose. It restores, bit by bit. I'm stitching reality back together, and this time I get to define it. I used to think healing meant forgetting. Now I know it means remembering without breaking. Some days are heavy. I flinch at sudden footsteps. I double-check locked doors. But then Illy laughs, or the Taylors leave Coco by my door, and I breathe again. I've started journaling, not the trauma but the after, the little wins, the quiet mornings, the softness returning. I'm not writing to escape anymore. I'm writing to stay, to claim space, to prove I still exist. Illy asked me what I'd name our story. I paused, then said, The House Without Windows. He frowned, but we have windows now. I smiled, that's why it's a story, because we made it out. He nodded, satisfied, then added, next time, make the ending happy sooner. I laughed. It still catches me off guard, how joy can sneak in, uninvited but welcome. We lived in darkness too long. Now, even our memories are letting in the light, one chapter at a time. The state issued a formal apology on paper, with signatures, stamps and all, but I didn't frame it. I tucked it into the back of the planner they gave back to me, the same one Jenna once used to schedule lies. Now, it holds different entries, Illy's school meetings, my therapy dates, real birthdays. The pages still carry weight, but not chains. Paper once trapped us, now it organizes a life we chose, and that planner, it's finally ours to fill. Illy started calling the Taylors Mom and Dad, without warning. No ceremony, no discussion. Just a quiet shift. I watched their faces when he said it. No tears, no overreaction, just warmth. Later, Mrs. Taylor hugged me in the hallway. No pressure, she whispered. I didn't answer, but I didn't pull away. Labels used to mean ownership, manipulation. Now they mean choice, belonging on our terms. For once, family isn't something we survive. It's something we step into carefully, but willingly. We planted a tree in the backyard, Illy's idea. Something that starts small, he said, but doesn't stay small forever. We picked a sun-loving tree, of course. I knelt beside him, dirt under my nails, sleeves rolled up. It wasn't a memorial, it was a marker, not of what we lost, but of what we get to grow. Some scars never fade, but roots hold, and in that moment under open sky, I realized, we weren't rebuilding. We were beginning. The first time I gave a talk at Illy's school, I almost walked out. Rows of faces, fluorescent lights, the echo of old panic. But then I saw him in the front row, thumbs up, bear in his lap. I took a breath and began. I didn't tell our full story, just enough to matter. Afterward, a girl hugged me and whispered, that happened to me too. That moment wasn't mine, it was hers. And that's how change begins, one voice at a time. At night, before bed, Illy sometimes asks, do you think she ever feels sorry? I don't say yes or no. I just pull the curtain open, letting moonlight spill across the floor. We don't live there anymore, I tell him. He nods, curls up with the bear, and falls asleep faster now. I stay awake a little longer, writing in my journal. Not about her, about us, about the light, about what it means to stay free and stay soft.